Well, good afternoon and hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for a very special, exciting Scenic Group webinar. My name is Dean Lapham. I'm the Senior Director of Professional Development and Trade Programs at CLIA, and I'm going to just quickly go through some housekeeping before we introduce our presenters. The webinar will run for about 40 minutes with time for questions at the end, but please feel free to type your questions into the questions module of the webinar, and we'll get to them at the conclusion of the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on CLIA's YouTube channel, CLIA Global. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our presenters from Scenic Group to present to you more about their fleet of luxury and ultra-luxury yachts. Folks, we're lucky to have almost 90 years of experience today on this webinar from our three Scenic Group presenters. So Scenic Group's newest team member with 30 years of industry experience is Vice President of Product Ocean, Claudius Dosiscal. Claudius comes to Scenic Group from Crystal Cruises, where he oversaw the Crystal Yacht and Expedition Cruise brands. He recently joined Scenic Group as part of a larger restructuring at Scenic Group. With Claudius today is Senior Director of Key Accounts with Scenic Group, Richard Hickey. Richard brings 34 years of experience with various positions at Norwegian Cruise Line, Disney Cruise Line, Club Med, Oceania, and MSC Cruises. Richard has a strong reputation in the Asian community as a supporter of their sales efforts. Rounding out our three presenters is the Managing Director at Scenic Group USA, Ken Muscat. Ken comes to Scenic Group USA with more than 25 years of cruise industry management experience. As the USA Managing Director for Scenic Luxury Cruise and Tours and Emerald Cruises, Ken is responsible for the oversight and development of the US market with key focus in the area of sales, marketing, finance, revenue management, and the contact center, working alongside colleagues from around the globe. Take it away, Ken.
Thank you, Dean. It's great to be here, and thank you for the warm welcome. I'm not sure how I feel about the 90+ years of experience, but we'll take that offline. You're making me feel very old, but we're super excited to be here. I believe I know many of the people that are joining us today, which is great. We truly appreciate the great attendance and participation that we have on this webinar. I personally am on week 5 of my role here at Scenic, so I'm going to be learning along with all of you watching this webinar today, which is why I'm extremely excited that Richard and Claudius are here taking the lead. But I just wanted to take a brief second to thank everyone for joining us. We're obviously looking forward to tremendous growth and opportunities in the North American market with our travel advisors. We're very focused on doing everything possible to help you grow your business and the overall awareness of Scenic Group, especially Scenic Luxury Cruises and Tours and Emerald Cruises. We are a growing company. We've got tremendous opportunities in the US and Canada market for your clients and for you to do a great deal of business and earn significant dollars working with us. So as we come out of the pandemic and as things are kicking off wave in a great, exciting way, we could not find a better time to be presenting to you today. And again, thank you very much for all of the participation and interest. And I very much look forward to the upcoming weeks following this presentation, where we can see the new business coming in from all of you, because I'm sure you're going to be extremely excited about what we have to offer after hearing from Richard and Claudius today. So with that said, thank you once again, and I will turn it over to Richard.
Great, thank you, Ken. Well, hello, travel partners. Thank you for taking your time. I hope your New Year's off to a great start. Exciting time at Scenic, as Ken mentioned, as we continue to grow the inventory and offer your clients exceptional experiences, both on the rivers as well as the oceans with our yachts. And that's primarily what we're going to be speaking about today. But for those of you who may not be familiar with Scenic Group, our journey started 37 years ago. Glenn Maroney, our owner, started offering tours around Australia. It was very successful, offering tours worldwide, and saw what's happening in the river industry back in 2008 when he launched Scenic. And then Emerald Waterways, which we rebranded Emerald Cruises last year. And then now we're into the yacht experiences with the Scenic Eclipse and the Emerald yacht. So exciting times. Glenn's really a true visionary and really focuses on really 2 points of extinctions, I think, are inclusions and innovations. And you'll see that as we continue to go through the presentation. So we're going to start off with the Emerald yachts. Emerald yachts. We've got the Azura that started sailing in March of last year. And we have her sister yacht, the Emerald Sakara, that will start sailing in August of this year. These are wonderful yachts offering a very intimate experience. We were very proud that last year in her first season, Cruise Critic awarded the editor's pick for the best new luxury ship of the year. So we offer a very luxury experience on these yachts. Again, 50 suites just carrying 100 guests. And when you take a look at the design, they're really designed with a modern feel, as you see here. We've got 4 decks dedicated to passenger space. 88% feature private verandas. 88% of the staterooms and suites feature private veranda or terraces. And we really offer some of the quality finishes that you would expect in a world-class yacht, focusing on these smaller ports and smaller harbors that the larger ships cannot get into. What's included? So what's included on the Emerald yachts is we have our complimentary beer, wine, and soft drinks that accompany lunch and dinner. For those that sell Emerald River cruises, you may be familiar with these inclusions. We've got the bottled water. We do include excursion in most ports with local guides, but we also include our Emerald Plus and Emerald Active. Our Emerald Plus, these are our authentic experiences where we take your clients to the heart of the culture in each destination. They're included. It could be a private concert in Dubrovnik or a guided tour in Sorrento with gelato tasting. But the goal for Emerald Plus is to really experience the culture in these destinations. Emerald Active, tend to see the Emerald guests enjoying our active tours. This is a combination of biking, hiking, and we do have kayaks on board. These are organized tours that are included as well. We do have Discover More optional tours that do take guests into more of an in-depth experience in the destination. There is a cost to these. We include Wi-Fi. We have the electric bikes on board. We include port chargers and transfers and all gratuities on and off the yachts. So it's a great experience and value for your clients on the Emerald yachts, what's included. So let's go on board and let's take a look at the yachts in the interior. You've got the Amici Bar and Lounge. So this is the heart of the yacht. This is where your cruise director is going to be meet and greet. Port talks, we'll have some entertainment. We have nice area for a pre-dinner, post-dinner cocktail. So just an area to relax and be entertained in the evening. We do have an entertainment group on board with some musical entertainment. May have a guitar player, piano player with some singing as well. We just don't have the full-scale shows that you might see on some of your larger ships. La Cucina, this is our main dining experience, offering a la carte menus and full table service. This is where all 3 meals will be served: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Important to note that one of the key features of the dining experience is obviously we're going to be preparing regional foods and cuisine based on the destinations that we're cruising. But our executive chef is going to be sourcing from local markets and preparing the local flavors. And it's obviously offers 2 things. It offers our guests to experience local flavors, but also support the local markets as well. So that's La Cucina dining. And there's an extension to the dining room, which is called the terrace. So this is an area for al fresco dining. Early morning breakfast, light lunch, snacks in the afternoon, great views as you're cruising along, enjoying the outside area when you're dining. And then the observation lounge. This is a great area also for relaxing. This is an area to sit down, read a book, have a nice drink. You've got some beautiful ocean views with these floor-to-ceiling windows, nice intimate experiences that you'll see on the yachts. Aqua pool and cafe. So this is our infinity pool aft. So this is a casual area. Also that light breakfast, light lunches and snacks throughout the day. So guests, if they want to just take, after they're swimming or maybe relaxing, they get a bite to eat, read a book. The goal here, as you see, is really to make your clients feel like it's their own personal yacht, just cruising with 100 guests. Sky deck, this is on the top deck. You've got panorama views. As you can see, this is a beautiful area. We've got the jacuzzi that goes on up there. We've got the bar. Guests really enjoy coming into port as they're departing from port, really seeing the views and the activities that are going on up there. Guests can continue their workout routine. We've got our fitness center. We do have a wellness ambassador on board, and the wellness ambassadors play a really integral part in the guest experience. They'll help out with the workout routine. You've got some cardiovascular equipment. You've got some light weights, but they also will organize some classes on board. We've got some stretching classes, yoga classes, and they'll interact with the guests too. They're the ones that are in charge of the Emerald Active Tours. And then in the evening, you may see them joining in the entertainment. So our wellness ambassadors really play a key role in the guest experience. Now, when we started the staterooms, when we take a look at the staterooms, we've uniquely designed the suites and staterooms to kind of create a private haven, if you will. As I mentioned, 88% featured terrace and veranda. This is our lead-in, where we only have a handful of these staterooms at about 183 square feet. And you see you've got that large picture window, because we have plenty of opportunity for you to upgrade and place your clients into one of our veranda or terraces. So this is our lead-in balcony stateroom. Our lead-in balcony, anywhere from 285 to 306 square feet. Important to know that our balconies do provide that privacy shield, so you can't see your neighbor or they can't see you as well. Also, we do offer the ESPA toiletries in all of our suites and staterooms, those nice bath toiletries, the ESPA products that are on board. And then we get into our deluxe balcony suite, 382 square feet. Always encourage you to really educate and get familiar with the amenities and services starting in this category, and then the terrace and yacht suite category and the owner suite. Guests start to get more perks. You get the coffee, tea machines here. You get the pillow menu when you start with these deluxe balcony suites. Larger staterooms, obviously, private sitting area, as you see right here. And then we do have our terrace and yacht suite category. They actually have a terrace instead of just a private veranda. You're looking at the terrace suite starting at around 680 square feet, going up to 700 square feet, and the yacht suite category about 721 square feet. Again, get familiar with the amenities and services that go along. You get the welcome bottle champagne upon arrival. You've got the coffee and tea making facilities. Guests will start to get laundry items, throughout the day too as well. So again, take a look and see what we do offer in the higher categories. And then our owner suite, which is our top category at 1,163 square feet, offers that large private terrace. You've got the separate lounge. You've got the private sleeping area, the walk-in closets, those pillow menus, the welcome champagne, the pre-dinner canopies, the after-dinner suites. Great opportunity for you to upgrade, make some more money, and a little bit more pampered experience for your clients. So that'll kind of give you an idea of the type of accommodations that we do offer. I do want to point out that you saw in the beginning a slide of our owner, Glenn Maroney, and his wife, Karen. And Karen is involved with all the decor of our yachts and river ships. She's handpicked the furnishing and the arts, and she does a wonderful job, and very proud to represent these yachts. So this is where we're cruising. Right now, the Azura is cruising. She's cruising down in the Red Sea area. Then we have quite a few sailings over the summer in the Mediterranean, the Western Mediterranean. We've got that Adriatic coast, the Adriatic Sea, Dalmatian coast off Croatia, getting into the Greek Isles, getting into Turkey. And then we're going to be going into the Caribbean, which we're going to be talking really in depth about in just a few slides. What you will find, though, is most of our departures, especially over in Europe, are kind of an open jaw cruise. So guests will embark in one port and disembark in another port. What this allows your clients to do and you to sell longer cruises, so they can join segments of cruises to spend more time instead of doing these round trip cruises that some of the other cruise lines do. So let's take a look at the Caribbean and what we're going to be offering you, because we're really excited because both yachts, the Azura and the Sakara, will be cruising in the Caribbean starting this November. Really excited. Great opportunities for you to sell this this destination, which is really one of the top destinations for cruising. So I'm going to turn this over to Claudius because Claudius has firsthand experience on these destinations and the marina platform. So Claudius, take it away.
Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to talk to all of you. Yeah, and as full disclosure, not only did I do my 7 years or so at Crystal, but I've done similarly years at Azamara and Sea Dream Yacht Club and Clipper. So I think I know a lot of it about these little beautiful small ships. And one of the reasons I decided to join Glenn, Richard, and Scenic and Emerald is because those beautiful 4 yachts. And as was mentioned earlier, Emerald Azura has been sailing as of last year. And the sister Sakara, which will be almost identical, 50 suites as well, will be joining us in August of this year. And we'll talk a little bit later. Eclipse I has been sailing since 2019 with the COVID break, and her sister Eclipse II, which again will be identical with 114 suites, will be joining us in April of this year. But let's first talk about this beautiful Azura and soon to be sister Sakara. As Richard mentioned, we will have both in the Caribbean for the first time in November of this year through March of next year. And as he said, in the meantime, she is right now outside of the Mediterranean, as Richard mentioned, sailing from the Gulf to the Red Sea, and will have a full Mediterranean. Both vessels will have a full Mediterranean season, spring, summer, early autumn, which is ideal for these beautiful 50-passenger yachts. I do want to say a couple of things. When I'm sitting here in beautiful St. Louis, Missouri. It's kind of cold here. It's about 32, 33 degrees. And when I look at that image, where do I want to go? I love to go to the Caribbean in the winter. And the important thing to remember is we only have 50 of these beautiful suites. And Richard mentioned that we have some without balconies, and that's really only 6 staterooms, 6 suites that have no balcony. As you may remember in the picture, they have this huge, massive window that lets in a lot of light. And then we have 8 suites. That means out of our inventory of 50, we have 36 sort of suites that are pretty much identical, spread out over 2 decks. And they have, without the balcony, 260 square feet. Now, I encourage you to compare that to our other ships that sail in the Caribbean. I think you will be hard-pressed finding a similar size so-called standard suites at 260 square feet. And then the other thing I want to point out, having sailed on a lot of our competitors myself, when we talk about a yacht, and what is so amazing about Azura and soon to be Sakara is there is an incredible amount of public space. So you really do feel like you are on board your private yacht. Even I was fortunate to sail a week on her before I joined, and the ship was full, and you hardly ever saw anybody unless you really wanted to and went to the bar, to the dining room. Just an incredible amount of space. Now, this picture, I love this picture because it's very important in the Mediterranean and, of course, in the Caribbean when we come here in November, because you can see the massive marina platform and all the toys we have out there. And in the Caribbean, 90% of the ports where we go to, the ship will be just like you see here at anchor, and will be offering a guest the opportunity to swim off the yacht. Then just above, a couple of decks above, you can see the edge of the infinity pool up there. But what I do want to point out is that boat you see on the left side, that looks like it's ramming into the side of Azura. This is our ship-to-shore boat, or you can call it a tender. When we are at anchor, contrary to some of the other ships, we do not use the lifeboats. as you know, generally speaking, lifeboats are built to save lives in case of an emergency, and they're not that particularly quick. They're not that comfortable. They're usually enclosed, so you cannot see anything. Excuse me, there's somebody, I hear a lot of background noise. So if you don't mind putting yourself on mute, thank you. So this boat here you see is our ship-to-shore boat. It has 29 comfortable seats. And as you can see, it is open around on all four sides, lets in fresh air, lots of light, and you can see everything that goes on around it. And it's also fast. It goes much faster than the average lifeboat. The interesting thing is you can see here there's a little bridge connecting the ship with our tenders, and that's how you get on and off the ship when she's at the ship. Once she's ashore, you'll get off on the side. So a very unique style. And this ship, this little our ship to shore boat, goes into Azura just like you see. So once everybody is off the tender, there's a little crane that comes in underneath the bottom and pulls the ship in, or of course out when we need this thing. It's very unique. It's a fantastic way, and I have not seen anything as fantastic on any other vessel. In addition, we also have two Zodiacs, because on some of those Caribbean itineraries, we'll be doing beach landings, and then we'll be using the Zodiacs. You can see again all the equipment. Very popular is that sea bob there. You see the guy on the bottom left, and that pulls you through the water. Kayaks, paddle boards, swimming. So it's just great to have this huge facility there and the aft, and I know it's going to be used every single day in the Caribbean. Just to move on to talk some of the itineraries we have. The one thing, and Richard mentioned it briefly, we have these itineraries that don't repeat every single week. So in other words, when you have a customer that likes a particular itinerary or chooses a particular date, make them look at the itinerary before and after. There is a very good chance it can be combined and the ports will not be repeating. That goes for the Mediterranean as well as for the Caribbean coming up. And it's a wonderful opportunity to sell back-to-back cruises. This particular itinerary here also, you will notice that you recognize some of the ports, particularly our turn ports. We use turn ports such as San Juan, Puerto Rico, Barbados, that have very good airlift, as you know. And then in between, though, we try to stay away from the big ships. For example, you see here on the top right, we are going to St. Martin, but contrary to the big ships at Philipsburg, we go on the charming French side of St. Martin. And from there, you can still access everything St. Martin has to offer. Marigot is, as I said, it's beautiful. It's a little charming. It's French. You use the euro, and you are away from all the thousands and thousands of passengers that can be in Philipsburg on days. Sometimes they have 6 of these big cruise ships in, so we are keeping ourselves separate. We have beach barbecues, etc. So lots of small little islands, and of course St. Bart's, which most of you know is the Saint-Tropez of the Caribbean. All right, let's move to the next slide. Thank you. This one here is another good turn port, St. John's, Antigua. They have a great airport there. It's probably one of the best airports in the Caribbean. Visiting, I do want to talk about Vieques particularly. Culebra is a great island. You can see a beach right there from Culebra and St. John's. But when we go to Vieques, we stayed until about 11 o'clock at night. And what's wonderful there is, and the reason we're doing that is, there is a bioluminescent bay where we can kayak at dark. So we have to wait until it's really dark. Then we do a short ride on an old school bus, and we head over to this bay. And then when you get into the water and you move the water lights up. It is absolutely spectacular. I highly encourage you to go online and look up Vieques Island bioluminescent bay. Superb experience. What else do we got? We have, this is one of my favorite itineraries because it is really, it takes you away from tourists, cruise ships, and anybody that loves sun, swimming, snorkeling, and just doing nothing without having hundreds of thousands of tourists around, this is the itinerary. All the places we visit are really small, maybe with the exception of St. Vincent, which is a little bit larger. But Mero is we have a beach party there. Very small population. Bequia Island, that's again one of my many favorites. And what you can do from Bequia, for example, most of you must have heard about Mustique Island, where all the movie stars and rock stars, Mick Jagger and so, hang out. We'll offer an excursion to Mustique. And then I want to talk about the Tobago Keys. The Tobago Keys, again, this is one of the places. Look it up online and click images and you will be astonished. It looks like Tahiti, French Polynesia, the atolls, and absolutely spectacular. As I said, if you have somebody that really enjoys getting away from it all, this is the itinerary you want them to take a look at. This is a popular itinerary with a great variety. As you can probably see why here, it goes from St. Martin to Barbados. You'll see we'll have the Tobago Keys again in there at the end. We'll have a great last day of swimming and snorkeling. St. Lucia, I spoke about earlier. All the big ships go to Castries. We go to beautiful little Saint-Frère, which is on the south side, right next to the two pitons, the volcanic pitons. It's an incredibly beautiful anchorage, one of the most beautiful in the Caribbean. And we'll have some great tours to the Sulphur Springs, and we can go hiking at the pitons and then do the water sports in this beautiful setting. Martinique, all the big cruise ships go to Fort-de-France. We get to charming little Saint-Pierre, which is off the northwest coast, very close to a volcano, and great history there. Ile des Arts, I talk about another favorite island of mine, just south of Guadeloupe, just at the bottom. It's a beautiful large bay and very French. The euro is there. When you step ashore off our boat, you can rent a moped. You can ride up the hill or hike up the hill to a beautiful, well-restored fortress. There's cafes, restaurants. There's a walk to the beach that's about 0.9 miles, and just you feel like you're in somewhere in the south of France. Very lovely place and one of the highlights also. And then we go to Antigua Barbuda, and disembarkation or embarkation, depending on the date you take, will be in Marigot. And the other nice thing about Marigot, it's only a 20-minute drive to the airport. This is a different itinerary for somebody that likes a longer voyage, and also something a little bit not just Caribbean islands. As you see, we go here from Panama. We have a transit. First of all, you fly into Panama City, which has a lot of airlift from all the major airlines. And then the first day, the first morning, very early in the morning, we will be crossing the Panama Canal. And I've done the Panama Canal left, right, up, down, night, daytime, and I still love it every single time. And it is the highlight everybody sells it to be. You start about 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and it takes about 12 hours for the ship to go through. So as soon as we leave the pier in Panama City, there will be 3 locks that will raise the vessel up onto the channel. And then you'll have the jungle basically left and right for most of the day. You go through the Guyot Cut, the most narrowest and most difficult part of the canal. You pass the Chagres River, which is the source of all the water that lets the canal operate. And then you get into Gatun Lakes. You'll see lots of little islands. And then you get to the last 3 locks that lower the ship back down to the ocean level on the Atlantic side. Great experience. We'll go to the San Blas Islands, where you have an interaction with the indigenous population, the Kuna Indians. They live very congested, tiny little islands, and we'll have a chance to buy some of their souvenirs, help the economy. What I love about their souvenirs is they're very light, easy, and they're basically stitchings. You can frame them and bring them home. As I said, they're light, easy, great souvenirs to buy. Most of you are familiar with Cartagena. Those of you that haven't been there lately, they've done a wonderful job renovating the old town. Beautiful place to spend some time and walk around shops, cafes, restaurants, you name it. And of course, it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site because of the fort, the very well preserved fort. We'll have another town in Colombia we visit, Santa Marta up the coast. And then we go to Cabo de Llave, which is sort of almost an expedition stop where, again, we are trying to hook up with the Indians there and you know, engage with them. Aruba, Curacao, I don't think they need any introductions. And then we head over to Meru, where we'll have our beach party and just prior to disembarking in Barbados. So as you see from the itineraries, it's a little different. It has Aruba, Curacao, Colombia, Panama Canal, and a different experience than the Caribbean. Okay, there we go. Oh, a couple of things while Richard is fixing the slides. I do want to say clothing on our Azura Sakara is smart casual at night, no jacket, no tie. We have plenty of closet space, although really, especially in the Caribbean, you don't need much more than a few bathing suits and a couple of t-shirts and flip-flops. And it's perfect. The other thing I want to talk about is really the cabins. As you saw, our suites are very modern, very stylish, very different from what's out there in the competition. And what I also really enjoyed when being on board is, you know, I think most of us have our tablets, our phones, and other gadgets, and battery, hooking up the camera. We have plugs, and more plugs everywhere to plug in. We have showers that definitely hold at least 2 people. Great showers, great bathrooms, and so really very modern. And just think about it. When Azura and Sakara arrive in the Caribbean this November, Sakara will have just launched in August. So she will be the newest, best yachting experience with only 50 suites in the Caribbean. And even Azura, when she comes in November, she will only be a year and a half old. So those are really the best, greatest ships you can introduce your clients to when they want to try something different. And it's interesting, with our yachts, we have learned that they really not only attract younger people because of its smaller size and modern and sleek look, but also a more traditional cruisers, older people like me, you know, when they go on a yacht, they find, wow, it's just so nice to have all that space, no crowds, no lining up anywhere. It's a totally different experience compared to anything that's any larger cruise ship. And I'll be quiet about here now. Your turn, Richard.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm going to try to get on that Panama Canal cruise, Claudius, myself, if our travel partners don't sell it all out. Well, thank you for that. I'm a big fan of the Caribbean, living here in South Florida. I'm a boater, and I can appreciate those beautiful waters. So now we're going to transition over to the Scenic Eclipse. For those who don't know, Scenic Eclipse I, she did start sailing with us in August of 2019. We did launch her. She just completed her 2022 season, had a wonderful season. And as Claudia mentioned earlier, Eclipse II will start sailing in April of this year. So you've got 2 of these luxury yachts carrying 228 guests, 200 in the polar regions, designed for both a luxury experience and a discovery experience ashore for you to sell. And I can tell you, I've had the pleasure of experiencing Eclipse several times, and these yachts are definitely something to take a look at. Again, carrying just 228 guests. It's not moving here too quick. There we go. I'm sorry. Okay. So both of the yachts are pretty much cosmetically the same. There may be some differences in the decor, but one of the differences is on Eclipse II, you will see this top pool up on deck 10, this top pool. So you can see it's kind of a large plunge pool with some nice lounge areas out there. The Eclipse I, you don't see we have plunge pools around. You've got the cabanas that go down the sides, both port and starboard side. First come, first serve, that guests can really enjoy as they're cruising along and checking out the sites. But this is really the main difference between 1 and 2 is that top plunge pool up on the top deck with a lounge area. Truly all-inclusive. For those of you that have sold the The Scenic Rivers, you know, we're truly all-inclusive when it comes to the Scenic brand. It's all the beverages. That's a great shot of the 100 Choice Whiskey Bar where the whiskey flows. We've got a variety of wines, a great selection of wines on board. All dining, up to 10 dining experience with 9 venues. The 10th would be room service from your butlers, and I'll talk a little bit about the dining experience. All guests have access to the butlers, not just the suites. Again, encourage you, take a look at those amenities and services, because up in the higher categories, they are much more generous in the suite category. All 114, as Claudia said, all 114 suites do have private verandas. We do have our discovery team on board. Claudia will talk about the discovery team. These are all experts in their field. They're there to share their experience with lectures on board in the theater, but also organize the tours and the destinations that we're going to be going, because we do include all the tours. We have our free choice tours, which are based on interest and activity. And then we have our scenic and rich. These are our wow moments. These are samples of what our journey designers do to create those wow moments where we go behind the scenes for private access and special moments. No one there but the scenic guests. So really the only charges your clients will incur on board is something in the sense of spa services on board. Though we don't charge to use the spa and sit in the areas, just for the services on board. Or you may be charged for a ride in one of our toys, a helicopter submarine that we'll talk a bit about. So again, truly all-inclusive, where we don't even take your client's credit card on board. When you take a look at some of the public rooms, this is my favorite room. This is the Scenic Lounge. You've got the vaulted ceilings. Again, I mentioned Karen with the decor. She's done a tasteful job with it. And the 100 Choice Whiskey Bar. I heard there's a room of about 120 choices of whiskey that we do serve up there. But it's a great meeting area. We have some light entertainment there as well. And we do have entertainment in the lounge, where we have musical routines, singing, dancing, karaoke, a lot of trivia and activity for your clients to enjoy. Dining, as I mentioned, dining, up to 9 venues. We've got from relaxed to fine dining. A couple of examples, you've got up in the top left-hand corner, Lumieres. This is our French dining experience. Now, some of the dining experiences, reservations will be needed. Now, this is one of them, Lumieres. It's an open kitchen atmosphere. The chef will come out and talk about what he's going to be preparing that night. We have the French champagne flowing at the bar, so a really nice experience with Lumieres. You've got Coco's down on the bottom left, and with Coco's, you have 3 dining experiences. As you walk in, you have the sushi sake bar. And as you continue walking back, in the middle, you have the Asian fusion. And in the very back, you have Coco's Night Market, where we have actually 3 different menus that rotate. Reservations are needed there. Seats about 8 guests. And when I say reservations are needed, guests, when they get on board, they can check with their butler or the maitre d' at the front desk to secure their night. We've got some casual areas. We've got the yacht club aft, open for breakfast and lunch, with carving stations, pasta stations, salads. And then we have Elements, our main restaurant. Elements is where you're going to be able to experience seafood, Italian, steak. So plenty of opportunities to dine on board. And as I mentioned earlier, room service is included with your butler. We've got some great suites for you to sell, a full range of accommodations. One of the features that I really like is the Scenic Slumber Bed. These are mattresses that are manufactured exclusively for Scenic, dressed up with the Egyptian cotton linen. You've got the private sitting area. This is our lead-in, starting at about 345 square feet, very generous size. And I do always like to say, ladies, we've got the Mac Daddy of hair dryers, the Dyson hair dryers on in each one of the suites. Complimentary mini bars that are replenished daily with your favorite beverage of choice from your butlers. Then we get into our suite category, spa suite category, starting at 538 and going up to 560 square feet. You've got your 4-poster bed, separate sitting area, walk-in closet. You've got the double-sized Philippe Stark spa baths overlooking your private veranda as well. When you start booking these higher suite categories, your clients will be able to get complimentary spa treatments, 1 hour. And then, of course, we do have laundry service, self-serve, but they get some laundry service complimentary in the higher suite categories. And then our top suite, owner's penthouse, is 2,099 square feet. This is located over the bow. We've got 2 of them. 2,099 square feet, separate bedroom, wonderful size bathroom. We've got the 10-seat dining table in there. You've got a tailor-made wine bar. So again, encourage you to take a look at these amenities and services that we do offer. Clients are walking away with a more pampered experience, and you've got more money in your pocket. So where is Eclipse 1 and 2 cruising in 2023 and 2024? Right now, Eclipse 1 is down in Antarctica, and both of 1 and 2 will be in Antarctica for the 2024 season. So Q4 and Q1 of 2024, we will have both of the yachts down there, and I know Claudia's just going to talk a little about that. We're going back to our roots. We're going back to Australia. We're doing the Kimberleys, cruising in the Kimberley area. We're going to be cruising into Indonesia. We've got the French Polynesia. We're going to Tahiti, to Fiji. We're cruising Japan this year. So we've got 7 continents, 54 countries, 357 ports visited, and of course, we're going into Europe. We're going into the high Arctic. We've got a wonderful Arctic season for you. Just like the Emerald yachts, majority of our cruises are those open jaws. So guests can embark in one port and disembark at another. I happen to be on the Eclipse in September, cruising down the West Coast, and there were some guests that got on in Reykjavik, and they cruised through the Northwest Passage, came down Alaska, the West Coast, and they got off in San Diego and took an Uber home. Go figure. Okay, so there's plenty of opportunity to sell these segments for your clients to spend more time on Scenic Eclipse 1 and 2. So as I mentioned, these yachts are built for discovery. They've got Polar 6 hulls, which allows them to safely navigate these polar regions. And this is one of our core cruises, the Antarctica in depth. And I'm going to turn it over to Claudius because he's an expert in this destination, and he's going to show you why you should send your clients down to the 7th continent and some of the skills that Eclipse 1 and 2 have that you should be aware of when selling. Claudius?
Thank you very much, Richard. And again, I've been very fortunate. I've sailed quite a bit on Eclipse 1 already. And coming from the expedition cruise market, I actually sailed on the very original Lindblad Explorer and World Discoverer. So I've been doing expedition right from the beginning. And so these 2 expedition yachts, as I said, Eclipse 1 already operating and Eclipse 2 joining us in April, are just probably the most luxurious yachts, expedition yachts you can put your clients on. And there are a couple of distinct differences really between us and the competition, particularly when we talk about Antarctica. And I have to tell you, Antarctica is one of my all-time favorite destinations. I've been going there since the 80s and selling her since then. And I have anybody that has been down there. I don't ever recall anybody going down there and not coming back absolutely amazed, astonished, and delightful and delighted that they went, including my wife, and I had to spend 20 years trying to convince her to come down there with me. She now wants to go back every single year. Richard, can you go to the next slide, please, if you don't mind? Oh, yeah, that's a great shot of our beautiful 114 suite Eclipse. Let's move one more. Let's see the next one. That's our expedition team. We have about 24 of them on board, and they drive the Zodiacs, they give the lectures, and they actually mix and mingle with the passengers when they are on board. So the guests always have access. Now, I hear a lot about the Drake Passage, of course, and I have gone across it when it was a lake, and I've gone across it when it was a little rough. However, we have these absolutely amazing Eclipse zero-speed stabilizers that keep the ship much more comfortable than any other stabilizer, or particularly a vessel without a stabilizer. So very, very important selling point to have this zero-speed stabilizer. But what we also have that makes our Antarctic different, can you swap the next slide, please, Richard? Yeah, we'll do, of course, landings. We have a dynamic positioning system where we don't have to use an anchor. The engines automatically through the computer will keep the ship in place, and then we'll do some landings, of course, weather and sea condition permitting. And as you can see here, that's a lot of fun, and that's always fantastic experience for our guests. On the next slide, here's the major difference from us and the competition. Everybody that goes down there to Antarctica, of course, they do the landings on the top left. We all do Zodiac cruises. We all offer kayaks, paddle boarding. But the big difference, the really big difference, in addition to the zero-speed stabilizers, why you want your guests on Eclipse 1 or 2 in the next Antarctica season, because this Antarctica season, I think we're 100% sold out already, but is the helicopters. We have 2 low-noise 6-seat helicopters, and we have a 6-seat guests, a 6-passenger electric submersible. No other ship in the Antarctica can offer you the helicopters and the submersible. And I have to tell you right up front, they are optional, but they're very reasonably priced. And particularly the helicopters, we cannot fly enough and often enough to meet the demand. And the same with the submersible. So they are very, very popular. And it's really because of the dramatic landscape in Antarctica to be able to see it from the water level in the kayak, below the water level in a submersible, and then from the air in a helicopter. No other ship can offer your customer these experiences. So here you can see the helicopter up on top. You can see the kayaks. You can see our marina platform. By the way, we do a polar plunge where we allow guests to jump into the water. We keep it very safe. And then you see 2 guys standing on sort of a black and white platform. That's our submersible for guests to get on and off. And it's a fantastic experience. You sit like in a sort of a plexiglass bubble. Great experience. So this slide wraps up all the experiences that we have in addition to the landings.
Yeah, I recall that Jason Fletcher, our discovery team leader, calls it, it's like a choreographed ballet when you have all these experiences going at the same time, and the fact of how the Eclipse is built and the convenience of getting the Zodiacs off, the kayaks, everything can be really going within a matter of 20 to 25 minutes at the same time, with a helicopter taking off and the submarine coming out of the garage. So yeah, it is a great shot. Thank you for that, Claudius. Well,
yeah, the other thing, just sorry, Richard, very quick, I want to mention is we also operate, of course, flight conditions permitting, but we also operate, and that's really cool for passengers. We operate the helicopter when the helicopter is when the vessel is moving. In other words, going from A to B. And that for passengers, in videos and pictures is an incredible experience. Thank you, Richard.
I had the experience of cruising, flying in the helicopter when we were cruising down the West Coast out of Eureka, California, over to the Redwoods, and it was really a neat experience flying around. So now we're just going to close it out with some great promotions. Obviously, we need to talk about this. It's a great opportunity. You've listened to what we have to offer your clients, and great opportunity for you to sell and make some good money. So when you look at the Emerald yachts, right now in our wave season, we've got a great offer that will end on March 31st. We've got a savings of $1,500 per couple, up to $750 per person. Plus, if your clients do pay in full within 72 hours after booking, there is a bonus. We find that guests, if we can incentivize them, sometimes they'll take advantage of it. We've seen great success with this. It's not mandatory, but do offer it, that if they do pay in full 72 hours, they'll get free or reduced air, depending on the gateway, or they get to choose the free premium drink package. Remember, with Emerald, we offer beer and wine at lunch and dinner, and guests can purchase the beverage package, which is the premium spirits if they want to, or just beer and wine, but this includes the spirits, or they can choose an additional savings up to $3,000 per couple. Terms and conditions apply, so make sure you take a look at this. We're going to be sending this information out in an email to you all, but I encourage you to really let your clients know that there's extra bonuses when they pay in full. With the Scenic Eclipse, same booking window, same sailing window, up to $5,000 savings per couple, or $2,500 per person. Plus, again, encouraging them to pay in full within 72 hours based on where they're flying from, free air or reduced air, or an additional $6,000 per couple. That's a great offer, So I encourage you to offer that. And again, that's on 2023-24 select departures, and there are terms and conditions apply. Hey, listen, we love groups. We've got a dedicated group director. We've got sales managers. We've got in-house coordinators that work with you to really follow, making sure that your groups are a success. Give us an opportunity. There's the reservation number, or email us or reach out to your regional sales director, which I will show here in a minute. We've had a lot of great success on these small yachts as well as charters. Charters are great opportunities, especially for the Emerald yachts, just carrying 100 guests. And we have a great Caribbean group promotion that we're starting this week. It's a new group offer. There's an air add-on from $995 per person or 1,000 savings. We've got an aggressive tour conductor, 1 for 11. Okay, and then if you pay in full, the clients pay in full, the air add-on is reduced to $195 per person, or that savings increased to $1,500 per person. And there is that phone number again. Take a screenshot, take a photo of it, or groups at scenicusa.com. And then for you, we've got some other incentives as well. A lot of incentives for you to experience these products. Earn a free trip on Scenic Eclipse. Make 3 Scenic Eclipse bookings, and you can earn a free trip for 2 on the iconic West Coast Experience sailing May 3rd of 2023. It's between January 1st and January 31st. We're going to be sending information out on this, so make sure you take a look at your emails in the next couple days, as well as the Learn and Earn with Emerald Yacht Cruises. So this was about really going to our Agent Academy and taking the modules, but you have just gone through learning the Emerald Yachts. So when you do get this email with the attachment to it, fill out the forms, because you'll be able to make a $150 bonus commission when you make your first booking. Okay, so there's some great incentives for you, and make sure you reach out to your regional sales director. We're fully loaded and staffed in the field. You've got Tim Birch in the Midwest, Mark Bryant in the Eastern US, Brandon Oscarson just started with us at the beginning of the year. He's in the Southeast, Andy Fuentes in Florida, Charlotte Smith out in Southwest. You've got Nancy Iavino in the Western US, and then Kelly Hogan that covers the Northwest, and our fearless leader, Ann Chamberlain, Vice President of Sales, and you've got myself, Richard Hickey, Senior Director of National Accounts. Our team is here to support you, help you promote, in-person presentations, more in-depth training, just really helping you grow your business so we all become successful and have a wonderful 2023. So on behalf of Scenic, I want to thank you for attending. Thank you for your support, and we can open it for some questions.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was excellent. That's really concise, and those ships look amazing. I think going underwater in Antarctica sounds like an experience I want to put on my bucket list. So we have a few questions coming in, gentlemen, and the first one is about multi-generational families. What do you have for teens and kids if grandma and grandpa want to bring their grandchildren on board the ships?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We don't really have triples or quads on the yachts. There's a way to make a 2-bedroom suite. If you go back to the Scenic Eclipse, you recall we had the spa suite and the owner suite. Well, on deck 10, you've got adjoining spa suites with the owner suite to make it a 2-bedroom suite. So if you've got, parents that want to bring kids or grandkids, and you've got to bring friends that want to travel together, that's a great way to make a 2-bedroom suite. The minimum age is 12, okay, on board our vessels. If you have someone younger, then we can work with operations, but we really don't have any triples or quads.
Great, thank you. A question came in about the marina platform for disability-friendly accessibility. So folks who might have a disability for getting on and off the ships, can you explain that a little bit?
Claudius?
Yeah, again, we have to differentiate between Eclipse and Emerald. For example, on the Emerald, we have, even though we only have 50 suites, we have 2 elevators that go all the way to the top sky from the entrance. But in Eclipse, we have 4 elevators. Now, the marina on both of them is not easily accessible by wheelchair. So I want to point out that's true for both vessels. So you have to physically be able to walk a distance to get to the marina. That's it's a little bit complicated. And the same, of course, also when you get on our tenders, we don't have a lift that takes you into the zodiac, for example, when you're in Antarctica. So there has to be some mobility on the guest. Yeah.
Great. There's a question about the specials. Were those specials just for the ocean voyages or for river too? Question mark.
Yeah, they're for the ocean, but we have river too. We'll include those in the email as well. Reach out to your regional sales director. Contact reservations. Go to the website. There's plenty of information on our sites. Yeah, we do have some rivers too. But that was just for the ocean.
Excellent. Thank you. For the cruises that involve Barbados, can you embark in Barbados?
Yeah, Barbados is our turn port. That's where we turn. Yeah, absolutely. Barbados is one of our Caribbean turn ports. As you saw on the slides earlier, some cruises turn in Barbados, St. Martin, San Juan, and we have a couple of them that turn in Antigua. And of course, Panama on the Panama Canal cruises. Yeah, Barbados is one of those, what we call a debark embark port, a turn port.
Excellent, thank you. There's a question about Canadian BDMs.
Yeah, we do. We've got a Canadian team up there. We've got an office up in Vancouver. We have our team. Yeah, you can reach out to us and we can provide that information to you as well. Yeah.
We have an agent that is looking for a voyage for a solo traveler. What would you advise for them?
Well, sometimes we will do some single promotions. When you look at the size of the yachts, obviously double occupancy, they sell very well based on doubles. But depending on the time of year and the destinations, sometimes we will, have some single supplements. It's just something that we don't really normally have. It's not a consistent promotion out there. So I guess if you find when your clients want to go, reach out to us and we can see if there's any type of opportunity for singles.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Sorry, Richard. I just want to jump in here. And again, we have to differentiate between Scenic and Emerald. The Emerald yachts, just, we talked, Rich and I talked earlier about those 6 suites that do not have a balcony in Emerald. And they're about 200 square feet compared to 260 to the next category. And those 6 rooms, those 6 suites on deck 3, they make really great single cabins. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, gentlemen. And we have 2 more questions. One was looking for a river cruise between France and Germany. Do y'all do that?
Yeah, we have the Rhine highlights and Jewels of the Rhine from Amsterdam down to Basel, where you go through Germany, and we touch a little bit on France and Strasbourg. We can combine cruises. We've got three ships that cruise all through Europe, the Rhone and the Saône in the south of France. We've got Bordeaux. We have the historic Seine River. You can combine rivers if you want to, and we can fly them down depending on departure. But the one that would touch France and Germany together would be our Rhine highlights cruise, or Jewels of the Rhine on Emerald.
Excellent. And gentlemen, the last question was the idea of the length of the itinerary. What is the average itinerary that you're selling these days, and what would you advise for our agents? Because we know that this is one of those brands that people really love to stay on board as long as possible.
On Emerald, the average duration is 7 nights. But as I mentioned earlier, the itineraries, quite often, there's a different itinerary the week before, the week after. So we have, you can book sometimes 2, 3, 4, 7-night cruises back to back without repeating a port. On Eclipse, because the Eclipse, as we said, is an ice-hardened expedition vessel going to far-flung places. And there, the cruises are usually, we have a few Mediterranean cruises that are 7, 8 nights, but generally speaking, the cruises tend to be 12, 16, 21 nights longer, simply because those are for the most part expedition cruises where we go to places that are further away than you would normally go in the Mediterranean or the Caribbean. So we really have cruises basically from 7 nights up to 3 weeks, depending on the region.
Yeah, and even longer, sure.
Yeah, Northwest Passage.
Well, let me say, that sounds amazing. And I think we all look forward to, hopefully, as you said before, you book these cruises and you can go on one too on the California coast. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Claudius, Ken, Richard, you all did a great job. And thank you to our agents out there for tuning in today. It really is neat to hear from Scenic Groups, and your ships are amazing. And if anyone has any questions, we'll make sure you get that information, contact for these guys today. But thank you again, and y'all have a great day.
Thank you for your business.
Thank you for your business.
Take care,
Appreciate
everyone.
it.